Part 85. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 842. It was still a very calm tone with a slight smile. It's as if you're just inviting others to have tea. However, just such a sentence made the man in black's scalp almost explode. He only felt that the hairs all over his body stood up, his pores felt cold, and the Tianling cap was filled with a slight chill. The man in black's eyes widened suddenly. Emperor Yin. No. Emperor Yin has long been dead. But he heard that today's Daxia Empire still regards Emperor Yin as a godlike figure. Pretending to be a ghost, now that he was discovered, the man in black no longer hid. This is just a high-tech world with some supernatural elements. How can it be compared with the aura-rich eternal continent? He can easily crush people here to death. The man in black sneered, originally I just wanted to destroy this sword, but since you insist on coming over, don't blame me for being rude. People from the eternal continent, Yu Ziyan walked in slowly, nodded and smiled. What kind of cultivation? Well, it shouldn't be high. It shouldn't be higher than the spirit master realm. But even if a spiritual cultivator who has cultivated in the spirit master realm comes here, his cultivation will be restricted. These words made the man in black's scalp explode again. This time even the heart was severely affected. His expression was completely broken. You know? Who are you? Of course they know that people here can travel to the eternal continent through a holographic game called Eternal. It is also this game that conceals the fact that eternal continent is a real world. How could anyone know? Yu Ziyan gently stroked the dragon bird sword, which was already getting excited. You already know, don't you? Chiang. The dragon bird sword suddenly roared. With a swish sound, it came through the air and directly pinned the man in black to the wall. The blade of the sword turned bloody red. Dragon bird sword is thirsty for blood. Ah, the man in black yelled in pain. He wanted to turn around and run, but he was horrified to find that he couldn't escape. Under the pressure of the dragon bird sword, it seemed that all his cultivation and spells were unable to be used. The dragon bird sword was nailed to his right shoulder, constantly absorbing the blood in his body, making it difficult for him to breathe. There is only one person in this world who can make dragon bird sword so obedient. And if that person is not here, Long K. Baojian would rather seal himself than recognize anyone else as his master. No. Impossible. Under the mask, the man in black turned pale and shouted uncontrollably, "You're dead, you'll be dead a long time ago. There is no reincarnation in this world, and even in the eternal continent there is no such thing as the palace of hell." The man in black remembers clearly that Emperor Yin died of exhaustion at the age of 27. But it is a pity that Emperor Yin was still allowed to complete the great cause of unifying Daxia before his death. I thought that after Emperor Yin passed away, Daxia would still be separated and disintegrated. Who knows, there is also Ji Chun Yuan, a powerful Onmyoji. With his own strength, he blocked the army of 100,000 undead coming from the gate of the undead. A few years later, another Zhang Ziyu appeared. The woman did not give in to the men, and once again used her daughter's body to kill the remaining barbarians. The man in black could not understand at all why there were so many geniuses in the land of Daxia that even the eternal continent could only encounter once in 100 years. It seems that even God is protecting this ancient and huge empire. But how could Emperor Yin still be alive? Report it? Be sure to report it. This is more important than any other thing. Chi. The dragon bird sword went deeper at this time. Severe pain interrupted the man in black's thoughts, and he screamed again. Yu Ziyan also saw what the man in black was thinking. He held the dragon bird sword, drew it out, and slowly slid it to the man in black's head. Next time, don't think too highly of yourself or underestimate the enemy. The man in black stared and suddenly kicked his legs. His body fell softly and made no sound. Yu Ziyan looked indifferent. Feng San, Take care of it. The shivering Feng San suddenly stopped shaking. Yes, it's brother ninth. No, no, your majesty, your majesty. Yu Xian glanced at him lightly. You can continue to scream like before. Feng San. He deeply realized what it means to accompany a king like a tiger. No, Mrs. I may still be able to get involved with the character tiger. But ninth brother is even better. Crack. The lights were turned on. Si fucking glanced at the ground and raised an eyebrow. Dead. Well, little guy, Yu Xian put the dragon bird sword back on the sword stand, but there are some gains. He has seen me before. Si fucking narrowed his eyes, at the Yu family. No, Yu Xian smiled faintly. 1500 years ago, during the reign of Emperor Yin. Si fucking's eyes changed slightly. Sure enough, they have been targeting us since then. There is another thing that I have not understood. Now I can deduce the answer. Yu Xian's voice was slow. The barbarian race should be inseparable from them. Adult barbarians, both male and female, are 2 meters tall. Strong barbarians will also become taller. He once fought against a barbarian who was 2.8 meters tall. In terms of height, the barbarians have nothing in common with other races. It seems that this is not the race that should exist here. And he also remembered that he had clearly completely wiped out the barbarians in the last war. But a few years later, some barbarians came back and forced Zhang Ziyu to take command and go on an expedition. Si fucking also thought of this. Her eyes gradually sharpened. Yes, maybe just like the Gate of the Dead, the barbarians may have been created by them. Well, that's what I thought too. Yu Xian raised his hand and rubbed her head. You've been staring at her all day, so take a rest. At the same time, somewhere in the Eternal Continent, in the darkness, a voice suddenly came, falling lightly and without any emotion. Ye Kaiming is dead. Below, a woman's expression changed, and she was a little surprised. Why did he die suddenly? He didn't die in the Eternal Continent, the voice continued, he died in the New World. The New World is their name for the high-tech, modern world on Earth. Understood. The woman clasped her fists. Do I need to send someone to check? No need. The voice was non-committal, and he didn't take the matter to heart. Death means that your skills are inferior to others. There are many people like him and Zhongshan Wen. Prepare with all your heart for the holy day. As long as this day comes, nothing else matters. The woman bowed and said, I will definitely complete the master's plan. A few days later, the Daxia Empire. Nian Yian and Si fucking both returned to Xiaodajiao for homework today. Sister Ching Ching, I just happened to go to my mother's place for a meal at this time. Nian Yin looked at the time and complained, I haven't eaten the sweet and sour pork ribs made by my mother for a long time. Si fucking blinked, didn't Anta give you a lunch box this morning? Nian Yian became dejected when he mentioned this. That's for my desk mate. My mother said she didn't know I was coming back. Since I'm back, there's no need for Ji Huan to run out and let me bring him in directly. Si fucking had a complicated expression. It's really hard for you. The two returned to the restaurant opened by Ye Zhenmian. Yin Yaonian and Yu Xian were playing chess aside. After a while, Ye Zhenmian came back from outside. Ching Ching is back, hurry up, prepare it, we will have dinner later. Nian Yian complained, Mom, there is still me. I haven't been back for a long time. Oh, yes, Ye Zhenmian said as if he had just seen Nian Yian. Go and fetch Huan, I made her the squirrel fish she likes to eat. Nian Yian. It didn't seem to make any difference whether he was there or not. He was about to go out when he suddenly heard Si fucking asking Ye Zhenmian in a very serious tone. Auntie, when you went out today, someone asked you if you borrowed 13 yuan. Ye Zhenmian was stunned for a moment, unable to react. A few seconds later, she woke up as if from a dream and said, Ah, yes, it was an old man with a child. He said he had no food, so I lent it to him. She is kind-hearted and will leave meals in the restaurant for the elderly who are hungry. Today I met someone in need of help on the road, so she helped. Ye Zhenmian hesitated for a moment. Ching ching, you can't be a liar for 13 yuan, right? You can't deceive me anything. 13 yuan, Nianyan muttered after getting dressed. That's weird, borrow this number. It's not about borrowing money. I fucking looked up and spoke in a calm voice, it's about borrowing life. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 843. As soon as these words were uttered, there was a moment of silence at the dinner table. Even Yin Yaonian felt his scalp tingling. Nian Yan jumped up suddenly, his face was a little pale. Sister Ching Ching, don't scare me. It's not your life to scare you into doing something. I fucking glanced at him. Didn't you just say that this number is strange? I didn't expect it to be so strange. Nian Yan hugged Ye Zhenmian, who was also pale. Then, that life was taken away, what should mother do? How could it be a borrowed life? A little trick. Si Fu touched his chin. Everyone should know about the contract, right? Nian Yan nodded. That person asked my aunt to borrow money, and my aunt agreed, which is equivalent to signing a contract. Si fucking raised a finger, although we know, it's not money at all. The contract is equivalent to the establishment of this transaction, and, do you still remember how that person asked you to borrow money at that time? Ye Zhenmian recalled it for a while, and recounted the events at that time. When the old man borrowed money, he thanked her very much, and carefully asked her again and again whether she was willing to lend him the 13 yuan with all her heart. Asked her 3 times. Seeing that the old man was pitiful, she wanted to give him 100 yuan directly, but he refused anyway. Of course he disagreed. Si fucking said flatly, if you give auntie 100 yuan, it will be different from the number written in the contract. If the contract can't be reached, I can't borrow your life. Ye Zhenmian's body trembled. It turned out to be like this, then I. Don't worry, auntie, I'm here, and 9th brother is here too. He can't borrow your life at all. Si fucking comforted her. If he can borrow it, he has to see if he can afford it. It's just that auntie must be more vigilant in the future. Once you find that the other party's words and deeds are strange, you must immediately stop communicating with the other party. Hearing this sentence, the 3 of them breathed a sigh of relief. I've completely remembered it now. Ye Zhenmian patted his chest, his expression suddenly changed again. Ching ching, I remembered, he didn't just ask me to borrow money. He also asked a few passers-by to borrow them, all of which were 3 yuan or 13 yuan. Si fucking narrowed his eyes. It seems that he has a big appetite. Everyone borrows a little, and the accumulation is a huge number. Ching ching, we must expose this person's sinister intentions. Ye Zhenmian was very angry. It is this kind of person who prevents those who really need help from being helped. Ye Si Fu tilted his head up. 9th brother. Yu Zian always knew what she was going to do. She nodded slightly. Qin Junmen has already sent someone to look for it. The 80% possibility is also related to them. Si fucking said, now that the dragon vessel protecting mountain formation has been built, and the 5 formations are integrated into one, even an army of 100,000 undead can't get in. Yu Zian closed her eyes. Well, they are using this small method to infiltrate. I'll go to Guanghua Temple. Si fucking stood up. Auntie, I just waited for Yan to pick up Huan, and we'll have dinner together. Ye Zhenmian smiled. Okay. The phone lights up at this moment. Yu Zian took a look. I found it, I'll go there. Guanghua Temple. The monk just came back from outside and brought a jug of wine. Seeing that there was no one around, he happily took a sip and enjoyed it. Just then, a lazy voice sounded. Hey, monk, why are you hiding and drinking alone again? Buddhist holy land, aren't you afraid that the Buddha will cut your head off? The monk was startled, and almost dropped the candied horse he bought for the little monk to the ground. He hid the wine gourd first, then turned around. When he found a head protruding from the wall, the monk let out a long sigh of relief. The benefactor, you scared the poor monk to death. I fucking sat on the wall, I'm looking for you to do a fortune telling, don't be bitter, I'll give you the money first. The monk immediately took out the payment QR code. Seeing his skillful movements, I fucking fell into silence. She scanned the code. The monk coughed a few times. The female benefactor and the benefactor who has the crepe myrtle luck and the emperor's fate have already cultivated a positive result. It is really not easy. Oh, I fucking narrowed his eyes, you know that he is Ziwei's luck and emperor's destiny. The monk has not yet noticed the danger, I know. I fucking glanced at him, well, why didn't you tell me? You can also see his identity, right? Monk. He rubbed his head in embarrassment. Female benefactor, we pay attention to one fate in this line of work. When the fate is met, everything will become clear. There is no benefit in paying in advance. I fucking suddenly said, monk, I checked you. The monk was at a loss. What does the female benefactor mean? You were adopted by your parents. I fu rubbed his chin. They said you suddenly appeared at the door of the house, wrapped in golden swaddling clothes. Don't you think you are extraordinary? The monk rubbed his head, a little ashamed. No, but my math is really bad, this thing is so humming difficult, I just can't understand it. You can see things that many onmyoges can't see. I fucking blinked. Monk, don't be modest. Hearing this sentence, the monk restrained his lazy expression and turned slightly serious. Female benefactor, you are in a difficult situation. I fucking's expression turned serious. Master, please tell me. You have a hurdle. The monk pointed at her. If you can get through it, we can get through it. This hurdle requires many people to help you, and even one person is missing. Let me see. Well, the two numbers 4 and 9 are very important to the benefactor. I fucking's eyes were slightly deep. Master, you. The monk rubbed his head, pretending he didn't hear. I'm drunk, I need to rest. As he walked, he gnawed on candied haws. All the way back to his own courtyard. The little monk finished sweeping the fallen leaves and raised his head. Master, where is my candied haws? Oh, the monk quietly hid his sugar-stained left hand, with a serious expression. My apprentice, I want to test you a riddle. Traveling in the wind before the waves again, what is this word? The little monk scratched his head. No. Yes, the monk beamed, it's just gone. The little monk burst into tears with a wow. Master, you are a big liar. I'm going to sue you. Hey, don't dare, don't dare. The monk hurriedly grabbed the young monk. I will take you to eat pastries. Master, don't cry. The little monk laughed through his tears. Master, I want to eat sweet-scented Osman thus cake and lotus cake. He announced the names of 10 pastries in one breath. Monk. He wanted to cry but squeezed his purse tightly. Let's go. At this time, in an old-fashioned house a few streets away from Imperial University, an old man with gray hair walked in. He took off the hood and disguise, revealing his original appearance. It's a middle-aged man with wicked eyebrows. Afterwards, the middle-aged man took out a handful of money from his pocket and said flatteredly, a lot of people have been cheated in the past 2 days, and they are really stupid. They just borrowed money. The woman is sitting in front of the bed, looking after a comatose boy. Hearing this sentence, she was shocked. You borrowed it again? Other people's life is also life. It's the lives of worthless people, the middle-aged man said nonchalantly. Anyway, they can live so long, what's the matter with giving some to my son? As he spoke, he burned the borrowed money with a candle. Borrow it for a few more days, and our son will be fine. The middle-aged man was very happy, that fairy's words are indeed true. A few days ago, even the hospital was helpless with their son's illness. But at this moment, a mysterious man appeared and told him that he could use this method to save his son's life. He didn't believe it at first, so he tried it with doubts. It turned out to be really useful. So in the past few days, he has stepped up his efforts to borrow his life, and at the same time, more greedy thoughts have been born in his heart. If he borrowed enough, wouldn't he be able to live forever? The woman opened her mouth and was about to say something when suddenly the boy on the bed coughed violently. He even started vomiting blood. "What's going on?" The middle-aged man looked flustered. "What's going on with our son? When he borrowed his life a few days ago, his son's illness was also improving. Why did he vomit blood suddenly today, and it got worse in an instant?" The middle-aged man panicked. He found that he didn't leave the mysterious person's contact information at all. His fingers trembled and he wanted to call the emergency number, when a voice rang out faintly. "Has anyone ever told you that life should not be borrowed casually?" The next second, the middle-aged man felt his own shoulder being gently patted. "Well, the novel is purely fictional, please don't take it seriously. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 844. At this moment, the middle-aged man felt a chill run down his spine. He froze in place, not daring to move at all. Until the cry of the child woke him up, he turned around abruptly, his eyes widened. You are. Send the child to the hospital." Uzian didn't answer his question, but tilted his head and said, "This person is sent to the Kinjunmen, deal with it according to the rules." Feng San cupped his fists. "Yes, Your Majesty, ninth brother." He and Zijiang stepped forward, immediately picked up the boy who was vomiting blood carefully, and sent him out. Afterwards, Shenying pressed the middle-aged man to the ground with lightning speed. The woman was terrified. You. Brother 9, he borrowed the lives of 53 people in total," Shenying said coldly. "Every time he went out as an old man to win sympathy, and when he came back he was complacent, really vicious. The middle-aged man has not yet realized what is going on. How was he found? How did he find out what he did? Who is this man?" Uzian hummed lightly, then turned to look at the middle-aged man. "The person who taught you this method should have told you that you only need to borrow the lives of 10 people to save your son's life." The pupils of the middle-aged man shrank suddenly, and he said fiercely, "Who are you? Who are you? Be honest." Shenying slammed on the middle-aged man's back. "Ninth brother, this guy must be thinking that he can live forever by doing this, and his greed has been maximized." The middle-aged man suffered from pain, and even his little finger shrank. His whole body seemed to be paralyzed, and he could hardly breathe. "My lord, please forgive me. Please forgive me," the middle-aged man cried bitterly, and began to beg. "I am really just fascinated by ghosts for a while, and I have no intention of harming anyone. The man told me that everyone is just borrowing 1 year's lifespan. Everyone's lifespan is so long, and 1 year's lifespan won't affect anything at all, my lord. I'm just here to save my son." "Harmful?" Uzian slightly raised his eyebrows. "You must have this ability." The middle-aged man's face was pale. You. He hid it well. How did he get discovered? If he is not discovered, he can use this method to continue to borrow the lives of more people. Maybe he can live to be 500 years old. Uzian lightly tapped the table, and said indifferently, "Take him away, continue to search for people similar to him, and catch them all." Shenying twisted the middle-aged man out, ignoring his struggle and begging for mercy. The clues from Kinjunmen prove that it is indeed not just the middle-aged man who is driving similar things. With the help of the monks of Guanghua Temple, Qianjunmen captured many more people. Fortunately, for Sci-fi who had studied with Ji Chunyuan for several months, it was not difficult to get rid of it. Even if there are some difficulties, you and Ming Chi can solve them perfectly. Thanks for your hard work, Ching Ching. Yu Zian patted her head. You have been running around all this time, and you haven't stopped to take a good rest. I think so too. I fucking sighed. I went to find that monk yesterday, and he said that the crisis was coming, so I didn't dare to stop. Oh, there was a smile in Yu Zian's eyes. He really saw a lot of things. That monk is extraordinary. His eyes can see too many things. I fucking shook his head and said, even my fifth senior brother can't judge your true identity through the power of yin yang and 5 elements, but he can figure it out. And Yu Zian nodded and said, his origin is a doubt, but the only thing that is certain is that he is from the friend's side. I fucking blinked. Guanghua Temple has a history of 2,000 years, and it is not easy for His Majesty to keep adding incense. Yu Zian raised her head. Tomorrow is the last dance competition. And I fucking's expression became a bit serious. I'm afraid the international art competition is just a superficial situation. Please enter the urn, but I have to go. They must have prepared other means. Yu Zian took a deep look at her. I asked Yan when to repolish the dragon sparrow feathers. The smallest can be shrunk to the size of a hairpin. You take it with you. Ching Ching, you are very important. I know. Si Fu leaned back on the chair and rubbed his head. I'll go to the game cabin to rest for a while, just in time to practice. On the other side, the Thousand Army League. In one day, Qian Junmen had already arrested 15 people. Either borrowing life or luck, or using other means to seek the lives and safety of others. Xiao Wenjian was very worried. Master, no matter how many of us there are, it is impossible to guarantee the safety of everyone in the 5 prefectures of Great Xia. What should we do? The monk nodded and said, President Xiao is not worried. I have ordered the monks to open the altar to pass on scriptures, and the power is enough to drive away these treacherous men. Then I will trouble Grandmaster. Xiao Wenjian heaved a sigh of relief. With Grandmaster here, I can barely close my eyes. Hey, it's too polite. It's because of the presence of the benefactor you and the benefactor Si. The monk sighed. The luck of the two has increased to the present, and they can already protect the entire empire, otherwise even I can't do it. What? Your Majesty. Of course. Xiao Wenjian suddenly stopped, but found that the monk's expression didn't change much. He muttered, thinking that since the master is a master, he must have known about it a long time ago. Xiao Wenjian said again, Master has been busy for a day, let's stay for a light meal. Don't eat. The monk coughed, and took out the phone with his backhand. If it's convenient, just scan the code. Xiao Wenjian. The next day. Morning. Melanie finished a set of essential oil massages and was basking comfortably in the sun. The youth found her. Because of losing several games in a row, Melanie was very anxious. She was a little impatient. I'm preparing for the game in the afternoon, what do you want me to do? The young man said lightly, Yakiming is dead, you don't know about it. Melanie's pupils shrank suddenly, and she jumped up, dead? This is impossible. Yakiming is a strong man in the spiritual realm. Even if the ability will be weakened after coming to the new world, even if you can deal with the S-level evolutionary, you can easily catch it. How could it be dead? He should have come to look for you before he died. The young man's sharp eyes turned back and forth on her several times. What did you say? Melanie looked pale. I just told him about the dragonfinch sword. He said he was going to destroy the dragonfinch sword. I don't know anything else. Shock the grass to scare the snake, the young man sneered. A person who dares to act alone, has lived for 1,000 years, and has no brains. Melanie dared not speak. Although the young man in front of him is not from the Eternal Continent, he is the adult's confidant and the leader of the Revenge Organization. To put it bluntly, she is just a geisha. In terms of status she can't compare with young people at all. Prepare well for your last match, the young man said coldly. If you lose, you will have to die to apologize. Melanie's palms were already sweating, yes. In the afternoon, the dance competition officially started. Only Sci-fi and Melanie participated in the final, and it took place in the form of a dance fight. The two performed on the same stage and were scored by the audience and judges. Melanie took a few deep breaths, and she clenched the sword in her hand. This is her last chance. If you don't succeed, you will succeed. Sci-fi changed into a skirt for a rare occasion, but did not carry any weapons. Seeing this, Melanie breathed a sigh of relief. Without the Lonke sword, she would not be suppressed. Even if she can't win this match, she still has to find a way to abolish Sci-fi. Boom, boom. The drums sounded, and the sound of music began to flow in the auditorium. Melanie danced first. Wow, wow, sword dance, Melanie is so handsome. What kind of dance is Sci-fi dancing? It seems to be Daxia classical dance, but it has a special charm. I didn't expect that there would be such a visual enjoyment in the dance between two people. Boom. With the sound of the drum, Melanie's blade suddenly turned. No longer just dancing alone, but gradually turned to attack. However, in the eyes of the audience, all of this was no different from the previous sword dance. But in the eyes of professionals, this is about to start killing people. Under the stage, Raphael's expression became tense all of a sudden. Second brother, according to my experience watching costume dramas, blood is usually splashed on the spot like this. Tanjingmo frowned, you should watch less dramas. Sci-fi looked at Melanie who was approaching constantly, raised his hand unhurriedly, and held the hairpin stuck in his hair. This is the dragon sparrow feather that has been shrunk using mechanism techniques. She raised her hand and let her hair loose. I have been waiting for you for a long time. Good morning. This cough is really terrible. I can't stop it. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 845. Hey. Melanie suddenly stabbed out with a sword. But this sword was pushed away by Sci-fi with his hairpin. Wow, wow, the two jumped up together. The hairpin in Kinking's hand doesn't look ordinary, the metal color is very similar to the meteorite in the popular science program I watched. Why do I feel murderous? Are they really just dancing? It's not just dancing, it's fighting dance, it depends on who can't hold it in the end. To be honest, Sci-fi took advantage, she is only 20 years old, but Melanie is already around older than her, so if this fight continues, Melanie will definitely suffer. It was also the first time for the judges to see such a competition method, and it was inevitable that they felt the novelty. Every move of Melanie is aimed at Sci-fi's fate. But she didn't expect to kill Sci-fi directly on stage. As long as some scars can be left on Sci-fi's face, then Sci-fi's acting career will be over. Sci-fi was very calm and composed from the beginning to the end, taking defense as offense. She is still dancing, stepping on classical music with every step. Lowering the waist, jumping up, cloud walking, splitting in the air, one after another movements are also extremely smooth. On the other hand, Melanie, because she was a little impatient, kept launching attacks, and her steps were already lost. Clang. Metal and metal collided together again. This time, Melanie failed to retreat unscathed. Both her left and right wrists were severely scratched, and she almost cried out in pain. But there was no scar on her wrist. Sci-fi didn't give Melanie time to catch her breath, and continued to pursue. Clang clang. 2 more beeps, Melanie's ankle hurt and she sat on the ground directly. There was an exclamation from the audience. Stand up. Sci-fi was still pressuring her every step of the way. Why can't you just dance for a few minutes, isn't it the almighty queen? Melanie's forehead was covered with cold sweat. She looked at the hairpin that even her sword shattered, and her hands and feet were weak. For the first time, fear completely overwhelmed her heart. Fearing that she would die on the spot, Melanie screamed in a broken voice, "I admit defeat. I lose." Soon a staff member came to the stage and helped the sweaty Melanie down. The judges were still a little dazed. After dozens of seconds of silence, they gave out the results of the game, and the host made the final announcement. "Congratulations to MSSI fucking for winning the first place in the dance competition," the host beamed with joy. In addition, MSSI also won the first place in several competitions such as musical instruments, calligraphy and painting, etc. It's true that the waves behind the Yangtze River push forward the waves ahead. Miss SI has brought us an extremely perfect performance. Let us congratulate Miss SI fucking and the Great Xia Empire. Congratulations. Goddess SI is the best. Okay, this competition is over. Ching Ching can film with peace of mind, and she is not allowed to come out unless she picks up 1,000 or 800 movies. Yes, yes, Guanxiahiwu is filming. At the moment when she received the trophy, SI fucking felt an extremely powerful force surging in her body. As if some barrier had been broken through, her body became lighter. At the same time, SI fucking received a message. Jizingzi, hey, big brother, it's over, my grandfather is still on the mountain, and I see a lot of chi coming towards the dragon's veins again. SI fucking lowered his eyelashes and replied 3 words. That's good. She put away her phone and let out a slow breath. Now is the hunting time. Melanie knew that after she lost a lot, the chance of gaining luck in the Great Xia was completely gone. Where did she dare to stay longer? She ran for her life like crazy. The youth's car was waiting outside. He lowered his eyes and looked at Melanie with no expression on his face. You also lost the last game, what do you want to do? I have to go back to the Eternal Continent quickly. Melanie panicked and was incoherent. After I go back, I will find a place to hide and I will never come out again. The area of the Eternal Continent is very vast, and there are countless jungles. As long as she settles down in an untouched jungle, no one will look for her specifically. Hearing this sentence, a bit of sarcasm appeared on the young man's face. Okay, then see if you can find a place to stay smoothly. Melanie was stunned for a moment, a little surprised. You won't kill me. Kill you, the young man said flatly, I don't have any life on my hands. Melanie still didn't believe it. You really won't kill me? She is just a small character, that adult will definitely not care about her. As long as she returns to the Eternal Continent, she can save her life. The young man didn't bother to look at her again, and seemed to sneer. You go. Melanie was overjoyed. Thank you, I'll go. I'll go right away. And at the same moment when Melanie successfully returned to the Eternal Continent. In the hotel, Yuan Mingqi opened his eyes. Junior sister, she has disappeared, and my tracker has lost signal. Well, it ran quite fast. Si fucking raised his eyebrows. It seems that he ran back to the Eternal Continent. I'll go and have a look. Yu Zion held her wrist. Be careful. Don't worry. Si fucking waved his hand. I won't show off. Eternal Continent. Melanie felt the familiar aura pouring into her body, and let out a long breath of relief. She patted her chest, rested for a few minutes, and immediately stood up, looking for a place to hide. Just then, someone called her. Melanie. Melanie frowned and turned her head. She looked at the girl in black, but didn't recognize her right away. Who are you? What are you doing in my way? Go away. A passerby who doesn't even have fluctuations in cultivation, what is he doing here? It turns out that your cultivation is only at the spiritual realm. Si Fu threw the hairpin in his hand. Let me guess, only people with low cultivation like you can travel between the Eternal Continent and the Earth. People with high cultivation can't come out now, otherwise it would have been a mess. Melanie's expression changed instantly. Her tone also became sharper, almost hysterical. You, who are you? What do you know? Meet you again. I fucking removed the appearance of the game system and restored the appearance in reality. I didn't say I would let you go. Do you think you can run away when you reach eternity? Melanie turned pale with shock. No. Impossible. You actually knew. She knew that in the eyes of the residents of these new worlds, she was just an NPC in the game. Who would treat the NPC in the game as a real person? Melanie didn't have time to think about it. She turned around and ran away. Run. I fucking stepped forward. Where are you going? Can you run away? Whoosh. There was a sharp explosion in the air, and a thick blood mist rose from Melanie's body. I fucking narrowed his eyes slightly. Blood escape. This is a very low-level escape technique in the Eternal Continent. Increases speed for a short period of time at the cost of burning blood. Not many spiritual practitioners know how to use it, unless they are fools. I fucking watched Melanie frantically fleeing with great interest, and followed at a leisurely pace. After Melanie ran for a while, her strength was almost exhausted. Ahead, an amiable old man appeared. The old man is smiling and communicating with several players. Can't see any danger. I fucking was expressionless. How could her master be so bluffing? Those few players were doing tasks, and they didn't have time to pay attention to the Lord of Ghost Valley, and they looked very impatient. There was even a male player who raised the long knife in his hand, ready to tell the Lord of Ghost Valley to go away. The mutation happened at this time. The amiable old man instantly turned into a vicious NPC that is prominent on the list. Several players will not move at all. The Lord of Ghost Valley snorted, "This old man is kind enough to help you guide the way, but you are so ungrateful. If this is the case, don't get in the way in front of this old man." He just waved his hand casually, and several 5-star players disappeared. The Lord of Ghost Valley has never been a kind person. In Gigawanyan, his hands were stained with a lot of blood. Otherwise, it wouldn't be listed as one of the top 10 vicious NPCs. Only in front of I fucking will he have a loving father's side. The Lord of Ghost Valley stroked his beard and said to himself, "Let me go to Tianka to catch a few fish, and when the trader comes, I will stew them for her to eat, to replenish my brain. I have become stupid recently." He was about to leave, but his ears twitched and his brows frowned. Huh. The Lord of Ghost Valley looked towards the east. "Master! Master, save me!" Melanie's eyes glowed with hope, and she shouted, "Master, save me!" As she said that, she still didn't forget to look back at I fucking, and said triumphantly, "So what if you reached the Spirit Emperor realm? My master is a strong man in the Spirit Saint realm. Sacred Spirit realm is an existence with half a foot becoming a god. Squeezing you to death is as easy as crushing an ant." I fucking folded his arms, stopped chasing her, and watched her run. "You mean, that's your master?" Of course, Melanie sneered. "You wait to die." The owner of Ghost Valley naturally saw I fucking at a glance, and he blew his beard. "What are you doing? Why don't you go to Ghost Valley to find me first?" Melanie hurriedly said, "Master, I didn't mean it. I wanted to go to Ghost Valley to find you, but on the way. Master, I won all of them, and I didn't embarrass you." Old man I fucking blinked. "I can still say that you are my master. In the last few days of December, everyone who has monthly tickets can vote for Ching Ching and your majesty." I remembered that the first symptom of being infected was a huge pain in my arm, so I put on the plaster and went to lift irons for exercise. After lifting a set, I was panting badly. I thought to myself, why I am so bad, how can I fix it? Then, at that time, I didn't expect that I was infected during the incubation period. Woo woo woo. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 846. She is absolutely not ashamed of what the Lord of Ghost Valley taught her. He is a well-behaved apprentice. Unexpectedly, After hearing these words, the Lord of Ghost Valley became furious instead. "Stinky girl, don't remember what you should, but remember what you shouldn't." He was very angry. "When did the old man not let you recognize the master? Is it possible that if you lose, the old man really kicked you out of the teacher? Go. Sci-fucking. Why is her master so difficult to coax?" She had no choice but to raise her hands as a sign of surrender. "Master, that's not what I meant." "Humph, old man Jinghuiki," the Lord of Ghost Valley said angrily, "it just so happens that you came at this time, and left, and went to Tianka with my teacher." "Master, wait a moment." Sci-fucking nodded. "I'll clean up the door of our master's door." The Lord of Ghost Valley became even more angry. "Where is there any sect? I will accept you as an apprentice." Sci-fucking clasped his hands together. Yes, I used the wrong word, master, calm down, old man." Melanie couldn't say anything anymore. She stared blankly at Sci-fucking, who was giving favor to the Lord of Ghost Valley, and could hardly believe her eyes. Who is the Lord of Ghost Valley? Although he is not the most powerful one among the top 10 vicious NPCs, his temper is definitely the worst. He is eccentric and unpredictable. It is also very difficult for people to approach. No one will know which sentence stimulated him. Even the Lord of Demon Abyss was cautious when talking to the Lord of Ghost Valley. Sci-fucking, a person from a new world, even if he could come to the Eternal Continent through the game system, how could he become the apprentice of the Lord of Ghost Valley? Melanie stared blankly. A few seconds later, she yelled like crazy, heart-piercingly, "Impossible! This is impossible! She can't believe it! Hurry up and finish it!" The Lord of Ghost Valley snorted coldly. "Don't waste time." Sci-fucking pointed at the Lord of Ghost Valley and raised his eyebrows. "Didn't you say that this is your ancestor? Call out and see if your ancestor agrees." Melanie looked at the girl, but her nerves were completely crushed at this moment. She cried and laughed. "Sci-fucking, you don't want, how could you be, I don't accept it." "Ah. Don't want anything." Sci-fucking looked at her indifferently. "I won't kill you, because you can't live anymore." Although the blood escape had stopped, there was still blood mist boiling on Melanie's body. Her life has come to an end. Melanie pinched her neck, trying to suppress the fishy sweetness in her throat, but spit out more blood. She struggled and fell down, but her eyes didn't close, almost staring out of their sockets, full of unwillingness. "It's full of blood, it's really ugly." The Lord of Ghost Valley waved his hand with some disgust, and then cleaned up Melanie's body. "Let's go. Eternal Continent, Tianka. Tianka is a land without an owner, and there is no one who controls it. The 10 vicious NPCs do not correspond to the 10 vicious places one by one. After all, this is the data that the Eternal Academy has sent students to explore the Eternal Continent many times over the years. In fact, there are still many hidden masters. For example, the 2 guardians of the Tomb of God. They never showed themselves. Even the Lord of Ghost Valley has never seen them face to face, let alone the players. The name of Tianka sounds very beautiful, but the water in Tianka is the strongest corrosive agent. Even if it is a strong person in the spirit realm, if he accidentally gets contaminated with the water of the Tianka, he will turn into nothingness in an instant. Only those who are strong in the Holy Spirit realm can wrap their bodies with spiritual power and walk on the Tianka lake unscathed. There is a fish-like creature inside Tianka, named Golden Fish. The golden fish is named for its golden color. It is also an extremely nourishing food for spiritual practitioners. Ordinary people in the Eternal Continent can increase their lifespan by 500 years if they eat a golden fish. It's just that there are too few people who can enter the Tianka Lake, and goldfish have a price but no market. The powerhouses in the Holy Spirit realm do not lack extraneous things like money. The owner of Ghost Valley caught more than a dozen golden fish in a basket, and took his apprentice back to Ghost Valley slowly. "Set up the grill and start grilling the fish." The aroma of the grilled fish soon wafted in the air, and the sizzling sound of the fresh oil on the fish mixed with the gravy falling into the charcoal fire could be heard. The fish skin is slightly burnt yellow, but the fish meat is extremely tender. The Lord of Ghost Valley sprinkled another handful of cumin powder and chili powder, and then rolled and roasted. I fucking gave a thumbs up. Master, your level of grilling fish has improved again. I don't even want to be a teacher. The Lord of Ghost Valley was very worried, but who made you a kitchen killer? If I don't improve my cooking skills, can I still count on you? I fucking didn't speak, for fear that she would provoke the anger of the Lord of Ghost Valley again. She obediently waited for the grilled fish. 10 minutes later, the Lord of Ghost Valley put the grilled fish into the lunchbox and handed it to her. Take it, share it with your relatives and friends, that's all, let's go. I fucking picked up the lunchbox and nodded, then I'll come to see you another day, master. She thought about it, and left some electronic products that don't need to be connected to the internet. Master, I downloaded a few TV dramas and variety shows for you. I fucking handed the Lord of Ghost Valley a tablet. I played them all. If you're bored, watch them. The Lord of Ghost Valley took it, and said slowly, then I have to take a good look. I fucking left. Ghost Valley became silent again. The Lord of Ghost Valley was silent for a moment. This girl. I really thought he didn't know that she came from another world. No wonder there are so many tricks, always changing ways to coax him. But he had to admit that he was enjoying it. The Lord of Ghost Valley turned on the tablet according to the method I fucking taught her, and began to watch Walking the Devil with relish. At this time, somewhere in the Eternal Continent. Still a piece of inextricable darkness. Melanie is dead. The voice seemed to sigh. There are a lot of people who have died recently. The young man's expression froze, and he cupped his fists and said in a low voice, they are all careless and underestimating the enemy. Master, don't worry, this will never happen to me. Yes, you are my good boy, said in a flat voice, with a bit of relief in his tone. When the plan is completed, I will satisfy you whatever you want. The young man just smiled faintly. I don't think too much, the master can be easily satisfied. Desire is a terrible thing, and no one can get rid of it. The voice continued, they all died because of desire. I hope you don't follow in the footsteps of these people. The young man's eyes moved. Yes, my lord. He opened his eyes again, pushed open the door of the game cabin and walked out. In the conference hall, the top executives of the Vengeance organization have all been seated. Among them are several old people who once held high positions in the Eternal Academy and the Intercontinental Research Institute. This luck-plundering plan still failed. The young man raised his hand, knocked on the table, and said flatly, we don't have much time left, and there is no way to find another suitable person to participate in the competition. This person named Si fucking is very tricky. She knows too many things. Even if she has been in eternity, she shouldn't have reached this level. A middle-aged man pushed his glasses. I suspect she falsified her age. This matter is not important. The young man shook his head. For us, the only thing she is useful for is luck, unfortunately. Everyone thinks so. How many years will it take for a daughter of luck to appear? Perhaps the strength is not the most powerful one, but it is indeed the most difficult to solve. Otherwise, Zhong Shanwen wouldn't have plundered 90% of Si fucking's luck through Ji Qingwei, but still couldn't kill her directly. Then what should we do now? The middle-aged man frowned. Could it be possible for us to watch her continue to gather luck for Daxia? His tone added worry. In the long run, if she also attracts her original luck away, it will be a big deal. Kill her. The young man made a final decision, without any warmth in his voice, regardless of all costs. Good morning. Continue to ask for a ticket, everyone will clear the tickets at the end of the month. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 847. As soon as the sentence came out, the senior management looked at each other. The middle-aged man couldn't help but said, regardless of all costs? Isn't it a bit too much? Our current important task is to welcome the arrival of the sacred day. It is true that Sci-fucking is very good, proficient in all kinds of piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and enjoys a very high reputation in the world. At the age of 20, she was the only one who could do Sci-fucking step for so many years. Not to mention, she is still an evolutionary. The information they got showed that Sci-fucking was a transcendent grade evolutionary. But in these years, there are more than a dozen S-level evolutionists who died at the hands of the Revenge Organization. No matter how strong a transcendent grade evolutionary is, what can it block? Issuing a kill order, the young man insisted, put the task of chasing and killing Sci-fucking as the first task, anyone can take it. Whoever kills her successfully will have the opportunity to meet the adults directly. The higher UPS were even more surprised. That's not enough, the young man said calmly. In my opinion, her priority is at the same level as the deans of the Intercontinental Research Institute and the deans of the Eternal Academy. This. Several elders looked at each other in blank dismay. In the end, an old man sighed, since you think so, it's hard for us to say anything. Just using such a large amount of material and manpower to kill Sci-fucking, I'm afraid that the gain will outweigh the loss. The daughter of murderous luck will also bear the corresponding backlash. Not everyone can afford this backlash. I'm not afraid that the gain outweighs the loss. The young man's eyes were deep. I'm afraid that I won't be able to kill him, so I will send the order to the Freedom Island on my OG association first. Immediately there was an escort action, and he responded respectfully, yes, my lord. Let the people from Eternal Academy go out too. The young man pondered for a moment, then warned, tell everyone not to underestimate the enemy. He expected that Melanie would not live long, but he didn't expect that she would die as soon as she returned to the Eternal Continent. This means that someone has already learned that the Eternal Continent is real. In the past, everyone who heard the news had already been purged. As for now, the holy day is coming. Even if someone knows, it will not help, don't bother. The young man nodded and said, this meeting is over. Soon, we will have a big battle. Please prepare yourself. On the other side, Sci-fucking asked Nian Yin to bring a few goldfish back to Yin's house. He also summoned the brothers and sisters to divide the remaining goldfish. Yuning was not polite, and directly picked up the chopsticks to where the golden fish, and took a bite. He ate quickly, but his movements were graceful, and his hands were not stained with any oil. Raphael asked curiously, can this fish really increase cultivation? It looks so silly. Sci-fucking thought for a while, and tentatively said, otherwise, sixth senior brother, stop eating, it's a waste if you eat, give my boyfriend some more. Raphael. Shocked and heartbroken, he made a gesture of Zizi holding his heart, junior sister, you have gone too far. Sci-fucking took a mouthful of the fish that Uzian fed her, and hummed twice perfunctorily. It tastes good. After Yuning finished eating, she wiped her hands unhurriedly, it tastes better than the first time I ate it. Sci-fucking blinked, first time. Well, when I was still in the Eternal Continent, Yuning said lightly, I was lucky to get one, but unfortunately there were no tools at that time, so I ate it as sashimi. After eating, they all felt a warm current flowing slowly in their limbs, their pores relaxed, and their whole body was refreshed. Sci-fucking stretched his waist, the matter is over, let's rest for a while. Uzian patted her head, have a good night's sleep, I will attend the Glen Awards ceremony tomorrow. Almost forgot about it. Sci-fu rubbed his waist and muttered, I have to get up early in the morning to do styling again, and my neck is about to break. Are you going to win the prize again? Yunying raised her eyebrows, the speed is really fast. Raphael finished eating the golden fish and was still savoring it. Hearing this, he was a little confused. Again? Isn't this the first movie of Junior Sister? Little Junior Sister is right. It's really useless for you to eat fish. Tan Jingmo gave him a cold look, only you haven't noticed that Junior Sister is Yun Lan. Lang Xian coughed violently. He didn't see it either. But he still shut up and just watched the sixth child being set on fire. Raphael stammered, What? The genius international actress 10 years ago was also a junior sister. Yunlan's movie discs are also specially stored in the study room of his bedroom. Raphael took a deep breath, and suddenly excitedly clenched his right hand into a fist on the palm of his left hand. It turns out that my taste has not changed, and I only like to watch movies and TV programs of my junior sister. Tan Jingmo sneered softly, Stupid. Finally, today's dinner ended with Raphael being beaten violently. The next day, the much-anticipated Glen Awards ceremony kicked off in Glen. Sci-Fi is the youngest of the 4 Best Actress nominees. He was also the only Daxia native in the past 5 years. Westerners have always had deep facial features and taller stature. On the red carpet of previous film festivals, big summer stars would always be overwhelmed in terms of aura. But not this time. At a glance, Sci-Fi is still the most memorable one. It is worthy of being called the face that unifies Chinese and Western aesthetics. After the red carpet ended, the actors all left their names on the background board and sat in their seats one after another. The light crew is at the front seat. I'm a little nervous. Chu Lingyun squeezed his tie, his palms were covered with sweat. Are you nervous? Sci-Fi lazily said, Fortunately, I'm used to it. Chu Lingyun let out a breath slowly, and complained softly, I still can't accept that you are Alan. Tell me about you. Glenn has won the Lifetime Achievement Award. How can you change the number and start over again? Woolen cloth. Sci-Fi, actually, I don't want to either. The following is the announcement of this year's Glenn Best Director Award. On the stage, the host has already begun to read. The winner of the Best Director Award is Director Chu Lingyun. Congratulations. The applause sounded quickly, deafening like thunder. Chu Lingyun walked onto the stage, gave a simple acceptance speech according to the previous procedure, and then slowly returned to his seat. The director of the song is awesome. As expected of being the #1 director of Daxia, he can take everyone he makes. It's over. According to Glenn's style, the Best Director Award and the Best Leading Role Award are generally not given together. Don't worry, what if we double kill? The winner of this year's Best Film Award is the host continued to announce the second major award, Movie, Light. Congratulations to all the main creators. There was a burst of cheers from the audience. Double kill, just short of a Best Actress award. Even if you don't get the Best Actress, Ching Ching can be included in Daxia's movie history. Indeed. This is the only big summer film that has been nominated and won an award after 7 years since Yunlan and Chu Lingyun teamed up. Sci-Fi raised his head and looked at the podium in the center. She fulfilled the vow she once made and once again stood on the podium of Glen. The main creative team of the Crew of Light came to the stage to accept the award together. Chu Lingyun gave Sci-Fi the chance to hold the trophy. Sci-Fi took the trophy from the last Glen Best Actor, and picked up the microphone with the other hand. Before she could speak, her eyes suddenly changed, and she immediately pushed down the heads of the 2 people next to her. Get down. Boom. With a bang, all the lights suddenly went out at this moment, and the entire auditorium was plunged into darkness. There was a moment of silence in the auditorium. 3 seconds later, screams sounded, and there was chaos in an instant. The global live broadcast was directly cut off. Viewers watching online were also stunned. What happened? What happened? Enemy attack. This is Glenn's scene. What's the matter with security? I am on the scene. The signal is very unstable. the building collapsed. Not good, all the buildings collapsed. Hashtag Glenn, attack hashtag. Hashtag Glenn, collapse hashtag. Hashtag the life and death of many film kings and queens is uncertain hashtag. All major social forums in the world were blown up by these news. This time, somewhere. This is an estate. The manor was full of all kinds of fruit, and there were a few birds. It's just that the sky and the earth are dark, and a piece of yellow sand spreads around. A man is dealing with weeds in a garden. There was the sound of footsteps, hastily. Sir, something happened. The young man looked serious. Miss Fuqing has received a death order from the revenge organization, and her priority has been raised to the highest level. Glenn was bombed, this is the latest news. Yin Baikan paused his hand and raised his head. Xiaoxiang's double monthly pass starts, babies with monthly passes can vote for Ching Ching. I feel that the sequelae are still obvious. I am really short of breath and easily tired. Everyone must take good protection. If you can't do it, you can't. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 848. The young man looked into his eyes, hesitated for a moment, and continued, it's bigger than the team that was sent to kill you and your wife, and it's already comparable to the S-level researchers of the Intercontinental Research Institute. There have been no more than 20 S-level researchers of the Intercontinental Research Institute since the establishment of the Research Institute. And these S-level researchers are all targets of revenge organizations. A few years ago, the plane on which an S-level researcher was traveling suddenly exploded in the air. All people on board died, and the specific cause of the explosion has not yet been found out. But the only thing that is certain is that the revenge organization did it. The revenge organization would rather spend a lot of manpower and material resources to eradicate these researchers who might pose a threat to them. At the same time, they also released the news very arrogantly. As long as these researchers join the revenge organization, their lives can be guaranteed. Yin Baikan wiped his hands, lowered his eyelashes, and said flatly, it seems that Ching Ching has done something they couldn't bear. The young man was very nervous. Sir, what should we do now? Both you and your wife are restricted from going out, if Miss Fuqing can't escape under the death order. The horror of the kill order is that there will be group after group of members of the revenge organization dispatched. The pursuit is endless. Start from the lowest level to test, and adjust according to the strength of the person being hunted down, all the way to the highest level member. Back then, the revenge organization had already dispatched its most senior members to hunt down Yin Baikan and Ling Hanyi. After the revenge organization confirmed the death of the two, the killing order was lifted. No, Yin Baikan shook his head, his eyes were completely firm, and said, not only can she escape, but she can also destroy the opponent. The young man was a little surprised, and said anxiously, but sir, miss, she is only 20 years old this year, she. Yin Baikan picked up the bamboo basket on the ground, tried to find a way to send out these fruits and medicinal materials, and hand them over to Dean Su of the Mechanical Engineering Department of the Intercontinental Research Institute. The young man looked serious. Yes, sir. Yin Baikan watched the young man leave, slowly clenched his fingers, and there was only a coldness in his eyes. The revenge organization. The revenge organization is the chief culprit that caused the tragedy in his life. He was sorry to the Yin family, he was also sorry to Ling Hanyi, and he was even more sorry to Sci-fi. It's just that he has endured for so many years, and there is only one last step left, and he must not fall short. Yin Baikan let out a breath slowly. He must not go out at this time, otherwise it will bring troubles to his daughter that cannot be solved at present. There was no other way to help her. Glenn. Signals are still interrupted. Because the revenge organization controlled the entire city, the rescue team couldn't get in at all. This time the commotion is too big, There are many international movie kings and actresses here, a member said. If they all die, the world will be in chaos. This year's Glenn Awards ceremony is full of celebrities. In addition to the digital actor and actress, there are also world-renowned designers like Gu Wenzhou. Each can be an international sensation. Whether they die or not depends on whether that Sci-fucking will take the initiative to come out, the middle-aged man in the lead sneered. If she is a shrinking turtle, all these ordinary people will be buried with her. I hope she will be sensible. Of course he didn't expect an explosion to wipe out Sci-fucking. Glenn's protection system is also world-class. When the explosion occurred, the protection system had already been activated. Spectators have long been evacuated into the underground passage. He just wanted to use this matter to force Sci-fu to come out. Send her a message. The middle-aged man glanced at the time and said coldly, tell her that if it doesn't come out within 5 minutes, the poisonous fog will be released. She can hold it, let's see if ordinary people can hold it. Received. The subordinate nodded and immediately went to action. In the dark, the underground temporary protective passage. The phone rang with a beep. A text message comes in. Sci-fu tilted his head down, his eyes changed slightly. Within 5 minutes, come out immediately, otherwise, everyone will die. This is her work mobile number. Although the confidentiality is not as high as that of a private mobile phone number, she has also implemented a series of methods such as password reinforcement. But it was invaded by the revenge organization. On the side, Chu Lingyun was so cold that he wrapped his clothes. Are you okay? The rescue team should come in after a while, don't worry. As he spoke, he sighed, it's just that the award ceremony was a mess this time, and I don't know when it will be postponed. I'm still waiting for you to win the trophy of the best actress. I'm fine. Sci-fucking stood up holding the phone. I'm going out for a while. Get out now. Chu Lingyun was stunned for a moment, then lowered his voice and said angrily, no, I suspect that this explosion was aimed at you, or why did the accident happen when you were on stage? If this is the case, you will die if you go out. Hearing this, Sci-fucking raised his eyebrows. It's really good to have a brain at the critical moment. I will tell the teacher to let him stop scolding you. Chu Lingyun. Is this scolding him or praising him? You also know that their target is me, not you. Sci-fucking said flatly, it's easy to do things alone, and I will let the rescue come early. No, don't. Chu Lingyun couldn't stop her, and could only watch the girl go out of the cave. Sci-fucking walked out along the passage. The phone suddenly vibrated. She frowned and took a look, but still picked it up. Hello. Xiao Junying paused and said, I'm with your boyfriend, and I've already seen people from the Vengeance organization. You stay here honestly, and come out when we let you out. You are not allowed to come over. Sci-fucking's expression changed. They will kill me at most and send middle-level forces, but it is not guaranteed to deal with you. What if they send spiritual practitioners from the Eternal Continent? Spirit cultivator? It's not like I haven't encountered it in the past 500 years. Yunying said lightly, don't worry, my acting skills are good, so they won't be able to see my relationship with you. Well, my boyfriend is looking for you, so I'll go first. When the phone was in Yu Zion's hands, his voice sank, Ching Ching, don't come out. Sci-fucking was so angry that he called him by his full name, Yu Zion. You follow Yunying's mischief anyway. Her palms were sweating, it was because of fear. She knew that the moment Melanie lost to her, she must be on the Revenge Organization's hunt list. But she didn't want the people around her to be targeted too. I have to admit that they currently have no way to completely eradicate the Revenge Organization. Ching Ching. Yu Zion spoke again, with a slight smile, Lonke, and I will protect you, you go to protect others, okay. The call was cut off. Sci-fucking wiped the sweat off his face, gritted his teeth, and turned back to rescue Chu Lingyun and others. When she goes back, she will settle accounts with them. On the ground. The middle-aged man waited for a full 5 minutes, but he hadn't seen Sci-fucking yet, and he was already impatient. Is she really a shrinking turtle and can't come out? Okay, let's release the poisonous mist. Several members responsible for creating the poisonous mist nodded. Just when they were about to be released, an accident happened. Woohoo! Several members actually fell into the machine. They didn't even have a chance to struggle, and they only had time to make a noise before being completely swallowed by the poisonous mist in the machine. The middle-aged man snapped, "What's going on? The person is obviously outside, why suddenly got inside the machine? Could it be space system evolution? No. Not just the space system, but also the wind was so strong that it had reached the point where the sky was shaking. None of the members of the revenge organization dispatched this time could block the sudden gust of wind. In the wind, 2 figures gradually appeared. My lord, something has happened. The middle-aged man held the phone, his expression changed wildly. We are blocked, the strength of the coming person is very powerful, it is estimated to be the ultimate S-level evolution. The god-slaying machine failed and couldn't function, His voice suddenly broke off. The phone is already in Yuning's hands. And the young man on the other end of the phone didn't know what happened. He frowned. Hello? Hello? Tell me more clearly, who is it? The ultimate S-level evolutionists are all recorded by the Revenge Organization. Even Yunjian, the lord of the top of the cloud, and the head of the Holy Light Tribunal have corresponding information. Surveillance shows that these S-level evolutionists are all in their respective positions and have not left Freedom Island at all. Where is the new ultimate S-class evolutionary emerging? Hello, Yuning said, her voice was flat and quiet. I said, you really messed with me. The double monthly pass for Q reading is also coming. Everyone votes. In the last few days of 2022, give Ching Ching and His Majesty a perfect ending. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 849. There was no ups and downs in the tone of voice. But if you listen carefully, you can see that it is filled with a bit of bone-chilling coldness and murderous intent. The holy day has not arrived yet, and you are no match for me, Yunying said lightly. You'd better be calm and don't let me catch you before the holy day arrives. The young man's pupils suddenly shrank. You. The call was just hung up. Hello? Hello, the young man kept shouting into his cell phone, but found that he couldn't make a call at all. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead for the first time, and he sternly said, quickly retreat, let everyone evacuate, never make such a big noise in the future, it is just to scare the snake away. But the plan to eradicate Sci-fucking remains unchanged. If we do it secretly, it's best to blame it on others. Do you understand? The secret guards had never seen him in such a panic, so they hurriedly responded, yes, sir. The young man held his mobile phone and frowned tightly. Who is the other party? How can one pronounce the title Holy Day? Could it be that their core plan has been exposed? As soon as this idea emerged, it was rejected by the young man. This is absolutely impossible. He trusts no one, and the core plan will only pass through his hands. But no matter how the other party knew, he had to keep a low profile first. As long as the core plan is not destroyed, Sci-fucking can avoid killing him. The young man called a few more confidants and said coldly, those people from Grain don't need to come back. We should immediately cut off the relationship and don't expose the headquarters. His only reliance now is that no one can find the headquarters of the Revenge Organization, not even the Holy Light Judgment Office. He has to wait patiently for the arrival of the Holy Day, and everything else can be put on the back burner. Grain. The strong wind was still roaring, and the members of the Revenge Organization fell to the ground. They were easily imprisoned in this small piece of world by Yuzian, with no way to escape. With a click, Yunying crushed the phone in his hand. He tilted his head and smiled at the middle-aged man. What should I do? Your adults have given up on you. The middle-aged man's pupils shrank violently, and his face was full of fear. Who are you? Impossible. The ultimate S-level evolvers are all under our surveillance, and there is no such person as you. He also met the ultimate S-class evolver. But they are not as strong as the man in front of them. Could it be the Lord on the top of the clouds? Or is it the head of the Holy Light Judgment? But the looks don't match up at all. Middle-aged people can no longer think. He was grabbed by the throat by Yun Ying, and his feet were lifted off the ground. The thinning air made it difficult for him to breathe and his face turned purple. He struggled to beg for mercy, but found it difficult to even speak. I see you once, and you die once. Yun Ying's brows were filled with anger. I couldn't get rid of you last time, so don't even think about running away this time. The middle-aged man opened his mouth, somewhat unable to understand Yun Ying's hatred for them. But he had absolutely no way of knowing. Yun Ying loosened his hand and casually threw the silent middle-aged man to the ground. Yu Xian raised his hand and shook it weakly. The space opened and closed, and all members of the revenge organization were eliminated. Awesome. Yun Ying raised an eyebrow. If I'm not mistaken, you have already touched the threshold of the law in the use of space, right? Law, this is a concept that only exists in the Eternal Continent. Spiritual Saint Realm powerhouses such as the Lord of Ghost Valley and the Lord of Demonic Abyss have mastered at least 2 laws. It was only after he entered the Eternal Continent that he fully understood the law of wind. Using the game cabin to go to the Eternal Continent has a completely different effect than entering through the passage. Yu Xian nodded slightly. It's a fluke. Yun Ying shook his head and gave a rare sigh. I really can't see through you. At this moment, 2 shouts rang out. Yu Xian. Yun Ying. They were all called by their full names. Ah, I'm going to be scolded. Yun Ying glanced at the angry little lion. Boyfriend, you have to be responsible for coaxing him well. Yu Xian also raised his eyebrows. Part of you is irresponsible. What are you still whispering? Sci-fi was very angry. She was still wearing the dress she wore when she received the award. The long skirt was torn open by her and tangled around her legs. Because it was too difficult to walk in high heels, she simply took them off and carried them on her hands. Yu Xian raised her hand and fixed her hair as usual. My hair is blowing up. Could it be that you are too angry and have static electricity? He mused. Quite cute. Before the hand even made contact, it was slapped away. You are not allowed to touch my head. Sci-fi made a cross gesture with his hands. You have been deprived of this right. Ching ching, it's okay. Yu Xian knew what she was worried about. He pointed to the mask on his face. No one can see my face. Sci-fi looked at Yun Ying expressionlessly again. Yun Ying lazily snapped his fingers. Oh, everyone who saw my face has died, but you can still look at me. Do you feel honored? Sci-fi. How could there be someone in this world who deserved a beating like her senior brother? Who can suppress this shameless man? Her fist hardened. Okay, it's really okay. Yu Xian touched her face. His palm was warm, and he whispered, I'm scared, they won't show up for the time being. This is not a solution. Sci-fi's eyes darkened. They will not give up. I am going to live in Free Continent for a long time. I can't cause any more trouble to the ordinary people here. Yu Xian also had this intention. Okay, I will move there with you. Is this all done? Yun Ying glanced lightly. It seems like one thing is coming to another. Yunju, it's rare to see you so obedient. Sci-fi, I don't want to see you anymore. Tisk. Yun Ying waved his hand. Let's go. Don't come to me if you need anything. I will show up on my own initiative. Sci-fi pointed at Yun Ying. Look, sooner or later, I will find someone who can subdue him. Yu Xian's eyes moved slightly and he smiled. Yeah. This time Grain was bombed, but no one was killed. Several staff members were injured and were sent to the hospital for prompt treatment. Driven by Chu Lingyun and Gu Wenzhou, Green's award ceremony was conducted live on the entire network. The title of Best Actress ultimately fell to Sci-Fi. In this Glein Award, the film Light won 3 heavyweight awards, including the Best Music Award and the Fine Arts Award. It can be said that it was fully loaded. The Mousees began to celebrate crazily. The 20-year-old actress Grain has a promising future. Oh, I'm in tears from the time Ching Ching was blackballed by the whole internet to when she won the Best Actress in Grain. It's been such a difficult journey. Ching Ching, charge, win a few more awards, try to win a Glenn Lifetime Achievement Award, and blind the eyes of those keyboard warriors. This time, no one said that Sci-Fi was not as good as Yunlin. Even several of Grain's judges said that her future achievements will be higher than Yunlin's. The trophy for the Best Actress was sent to the Huo family. Mrs. Huo placed the trophy in the most conspicuous place and showed it off to Huo Yangxing several times every day. In the past few days, the revenge organization has indeed become more peaceful, and there has been no action against other researchers or students in the inner courtyard of Eternal Academy. But for the sake of safety, Sci-Fi still chose to go to the Intercontinental Research Institute in disguise. Dean Su is already waiting in the office. Seeing her coming, he suppressed his excitement and just nodded calmly, "Come in." Sci-Fi went in and said, "Dean, this is the document you asked me to print." Dean Su took it and tapped his ear. Sci-Fi understood. This means eavesdropping. She walked around the office and quietly destroyed several eavesdropping devices. The pointer also points to 5 o'clock. Ching Ching, sit down quickly. Dean Su breathed a sigh of relief. Only at this time, I will not be under surveillance here. Sci-Fi frowned. Revenge organization. Not necessarily. Dean Su shook his head, it could also be the research institute. In fact, there is no difference. Sci-Fi nodded. Teacher, do you have something important to do with me? Yes, someone asked me to give this to you. Dean Su looked serious. It is said that it has the absolute ability to change the bloodline of evolvers. He took out a box. Inside are weird fruits and vegetables. Sci-Fi looked at it. Who? I don't know. Dean Su still shook his head, but the other party provided reliable proof. Sci-Fi nodded. Okay, I'll go back and study it. She put the box away and was about to leave. The office door was knocked open at this time. He is a cavalry member of the Holy Light Judgment Institute stationed at the Intercontinental Research Institute. The cavalry commander glanced up and down, his eyes like knives. Dean Su. After a few seconds, the cavalry commander spoke, "We suspect that you are colluding with the revenge organization and intending to betray the institute. Please come with us." Dean Su's eyes darkened. You. Sci-Fi put the box down and looked up at the group of cavalry. He won't leave. Only then did the cavalry commander notice Sci-Fi's presence. Ordinary, unremarkable. Assistant, the cavalry commander seemed to sneer, "You have no right to object to this matter, Dean Su, I'm offended. Take away." 2 cavalrymen stepped forward to control Dean Su. But their wrists were locked. Sci-Fi remained calm. "I told you, he won't leave with you. Keep asking for monthly tickets for Ching Ching. 1 double monthly ticket is worth 2 votes. It will be 3,000 soon, everyone, rush, rush. See you tomorrow." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 850. Both cavalry were restrained by Sci-Fi and could not move forward. Heavyweight researchers like Dean Su will be accompanied by assistants with force values to protect their lives. Sci-Fi's appearance did not surprise the cavalry commander. "President Su, You should clearly know how serious the consequences will be if you disobey the order of the Holy Light Tribunal. The cavalry commander did not get angry, but smiled. You are only arrested now, and if you resist, you will be punished with one more crime. Wait. Aggravating the crime, Sci-fi raised his eyebrows. When did the Holy Light Tribunal not pay attention to evidence and just randomly arrest people? Evidence is also evidence. The cavalry commander smiled and said coldly, if someone reports it, we must act. Dean Su pressed Sci-fi's shoulders, calmly, I have no problem going with you, I have to explain some things to my assistant first. The cavalry commander thought for a moment, then nodded, yes, after all, your assistant has to accept the punishment with you. He withdrew with the cavalry and guarded the two doors of the office. In the office, Dean Su was very calm, and he sighed, I'm still here, I shouldn't be looking for you today, I involved you in it, and I'll find a way to send you out later. No, teacher, you promised them that you would go to the dark room of silence to accept punishment. Sci-fi raised his eyes and said flatly, if nothing is found in the final investigation, the other party will pay back 10 times. Dean Su has been devastated for several years because of her death. Now it seems that this is actually a good thing. Because the revenge organization decided that Dean Su was no longer a threat, and did not attack him. But now Dean Su has picked up several research projects, and the research is progressing very smoothly, and the revenge organization can't sit still. Fortunately, this time, she was there. She has the ability to protect Dean Su. The silent black room, Dean Su was taken aback. Ching ching, the Holy Light Tribunal has recently upgraded the silent black room, and the penalty has also increased. You don't know. A few days ago, an Onmyoji from the Onmyoji Association violated the law and killed several innocent lives. After entering the silent dark room for 3 days, he went crazy when he came out. Of course he didn't think that Sci-fi wanted to harm him on purpose, but he didn't understand why she asked him to take the initiative to silence the black room. Teacher, you'll be fine if you go in, Sci-fi said calmly, I have a teacher inside, I'll go find him. Dean Su stared, where did you find another teacher? Sci-fi, teacher, is it time to discuss this issue? Don't call me teacher. Dean Su was angry, I don't know where you have so many teachers. How is it possible? Sci-fi raised his hands, I swear, in terms of research, teacher, you are the number one in my heart. Dean Su. He snorted a little, still not very happy, you have so many fields, don't every teacher rank first in your heart? Cough cough cough. Sci-fi choked, teacher, I am sincere to each of you. In order to prevent Dean Su from uttering any earth-shattering words, she said in time, my teacher can control the entire silent dark room. Teacher, it's the safest for you to stay inside. There are revenge organizations on the outside, and internal traitors from the Intercontinental Research Institute. Dean Su's situation is very dangerous. She will catch the traitor of the Intercontinental Research Institute during the time when Dean Su enters the silent dark room. That's true. Dean Su nodded, okay, then I will do as you said. In a while, let's go out. Outside, in the conference hall. The arrest of Dean Su is a serious matter, and the top executives of the Intercontinental Research Institute are also present. The deans, vice deans, and supreme deans of the major branches are all there. Seeing Dean Su coming in, their expressions all changed. There must be a misunderstanding about this matter. The Supreme Dean was still negotiating with the cavalry commander. Who is the whistleblower? What evidence has he produced? Do you know that several experiments have reached the critical final stage, and a day's delay will cost hundreds of millions of research funds? Can you afford it? The captain of the cavalry stood still, with a cold expression. Sorry, we want to protect the safety of the whistleblower, and we cannot disclose it. Fart, the Supreme Dean was so angry that he swears, where is your head of state? You are abusing your power. I am going to find your head of state. The captain of the cavalry hooked the corner of his mouth sarcastically. The head of state has not left the customs yet. If you can find it, please do so. The Supreme Dean's face was livid. The other deans and vice presidents also whispered, but did not speak. Going head-to-head with the Holy Light Tribunal will only be thankless. The cavalry commander looked at Dean Su coldly. Take it away. You can take it away, but I have a request, Dean Su said calmly. I have contributed a lot to Freedom Island, so I always have the right to choose my own punishment. I want to go to the silent black room. After the words fell, the cavalry commander was shocked. What did you say? The Supreme Dean looked anxious. No. Researcher Su is too old, and he is not an evolutionary. He is absolutely not allowed to enter the silent black room. Even if a young evolutionary enters, there is a possibility of mental breakdown. Yes, the silent black room, Dean Su still insisted. Why, the silent black room is not qualified. Since Dean Su insists on going to the silent black room, then the Holy Light Judgment Office will also satisfy Dean Su's wish. The cavalry commander nodded lightly. Then please pack up and go to the silent black room, Dean Su. Dean Su didn't move. I haven't finished my words yet. I'm going to be punished in the dark room of silence, but if I'm found innocent, I ask the Holy Light Tribunal to judge the people who reported me and those who arrested me in the entire Free State. As soon as the sentence came out, the whole long table was silent for a moment. The silence was broken by the cavalry commander first, and this time he spoke very well. No problem, Dean Su is an excellent S-level researcher, and clearing Dean Su's charges is also the responsibility of the Holy Light Tribunal. There was a bit of sarcasm on his face. After entering the silent black room, with Dean Su's physical fitness, how do you still want to come out? Even if he came out, he would definitely be insane. How could he still have the ability to do experiments? A researcher without the ability to do experiments is a useless pawn. Dean Su smiled. Okay, with your witnesses, I hope you will do what you say. In that case, please trouble Dean Su to go with us to the silent black room. The cavalry commander stood up. We will also investigate the evidence as soon as possible, and return your innocence. The Supreme Dean is still trying to stop. No, absolutely not, Lao Su, you can't go. Dean Su shook his head, and glanced at the people at the table one by one. Dean, I will trouble you for the rest. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, he followed the cavalry leader out. Some people are sad, some are happy, and some have complex expressions. Go and investigate. The Supreme Dean was furious. What time is it? And there are still internal strife. If you find out who framed Lao Su, you must accept the maximum punishment. The guards responded and quickly went down to act. Here, the cavalry escorted Dean Su and Sci-fi all the way to the door of the silent black house. The cavalry commander said flatly, Dean Su, and your assistant, let's go in together. Dean Su snorted coldly, and entered the silent dark room without looking back. Sci-fi followed behind him. This is the first time Dean Su entered the silent black room. But he has also heard that in the silent black room, time and space are nothingness. People are driven crazy in such an environment. Teacher, I brought you wine, Sci-fi said cheerfully, walking in unhurriedly. There are also appetizers, peanuts, and wine. It's really good. These wines were brought by her from Yuning, and there were several bottles of wine made by the Lord of Ghost Valley. Ghost Valley is like spring all the year round, with abundant fruits. The wine cellar of the Lord of Ghost Valley is full of wine made from various fruits, and some medicinal materials are added to it, which are of great benefit to ordinary people and spiritual practitioners. It's just that she was forbidden to enjoy the wine. She can only drink juice. Dean Su couldn't help but widen his eyes. Because he saw a figure appearing in front of him, walking in their direction. No one knows how big the silent black room is. But it is true that different prisoners can be held at the same time. However, due to the time and space characteristics of the silent black room, these prisoners will not meet each other. There is actually a third person here. The man straightened his beard and raised his head to look in Sci-fi's direction. When he saw Dean Su, he raised his eyebrows, smiled, and said slowly, "Oh, it's Xiao Su. Good morning. Thank you all so much for your support. In the last 2 days, it's still a double monthly pass, everyone give it a go." After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 851. There was a moment of silence in the air. Sci scratched his dumbfounded hair, and was also surprised. The teachers know each other. As soon as the sentence came out, she subconsciously jumped between the two. Wait, no fighting is allowed. Hearing this, the man sneered, who is so naive to fight over such a thing? Dean Su. He was embarrassed to say that he had already fought the old guy Dongfang Xiao once. Teacher, please do something. Sci put his palms together and told what happened earlier. Please take care of Teacher Su, I'll go out and continue to investigate. The man's expression paused, and he said in a calm tone, break in directly to arrest people? It's really too arrogant. Let me go, you have to be careful. Understood. Sci put down the wine and dishes, then I'll go first, the two teachers get along well. She said another word of worry, and then left. Dean Su was still a little cautious. Here, may I ask you, have I met you anywhere? The man took out a razor from nowhere, shaved off his beard, trimmed his hair, and then raised his head again. This time, Dean Su saw his face clearly. I almost knelt down in fright for a moment, and blurted out, "You, how did you come here? What's wrong here?" The man looked up and looked around, and said casually, "I think it's pretty good here, carefree and very comfortable," he said, snapping his fingers. Boom! The dark and silent black room changed in an instant, turning into a paradise of peach blossoms. Dean Su's brain is a little bit overwhelmed. He opened his mouth wide, and he didn't know whether he should have shocked the silent black room before it could become like this. It's better to be surprised why the man appeared here first, and his performance is still very leisurely. He then stammered and asked, You are locked here, do you know what happened outside? Holy Light Tribunal, Intercontinental Research Institute, and Eternal Academy. Some know, some don't. The man touched his chin, most of them can be guessed. Dean Su wanted to ask something, but was interrupted by the man. Okay, you stay here well, and you can go out when that girl finds out. Don't ask the rest, curiosity will kill the cat. Dean Su shut up immediately. The man thought for a while, and gave him a plate of food, although it is said that you will not be hungry in the silent black room, but I am afraid that you will drool while watching me eat, so you can take this plate of edamame as a cushion. Dean Su. He finally recalled why certain traits of Sci were so familiar. It turned out that there was a teacher who was the source of the evil. Dean Su hugged Madhu and moved away silently. Sci came out from the silent dark room. At the door, the cavalry captain was still communicating with the staff guarding the silent black room. The cavalry commander was very lenient at this time. President Su Ce is old after all, so the intensity should be adjusted to the lowest level. The staff nodded. Please rest assured on Saturday, but even if the intensity is adjusted to the lowest level, I'm afraid Dean Su Ce still can't bear it. The cavalry commander was indifferent. According to the regulations, he was just going to be locked up in an ordinary cell, but he chose the silent black room. I'm afraid he also knew that he betrayed the Intercontinental Research Institute and was going to apologize with death. There are a total of 7 cavalry teams under the command of the Holy Light Tribunal, named after the 7 days from Monday to Sunday. And the supreme judgment of the Holy Light Tribunal is also called the 7-day creation judgment. Within 7 days, the judged will experience various punishments. Life is worse than death. Anyone who is confirmed as a member of the revenge organization will be sentenced to a 7-day creation trial. Without exception. The cavalry commander issued an order, continue to investigate all Su-Ce's documents and personnel exchanges, and must arrest all the minions of the revenge organization. The cavalry responded, yes, my lord. I stood aside and listened to the whole process. Under the double barrier of the copied space ability and the power of yin-yang and 5 elements, even the cavalry commander with extremely high force value could not find her. Her eyes narrowed. I am afraid that the whistleblower's purpose is also to make Dean Su suffer a 7-day trial. She must find out this mole. The Intercontinental Research Institute is so big, there must be more than one traitor. Just at this moment, SI received a summons from Director Dongfang. She put on the hood of the sweater to cover her face, and hurried to the Eternal Academy. The news of Dean Su's arrest has not been officially announced to the public, but Dean Dongfang already knows about it. Ching Ching, what's going on with Xiao Su? Dean Dongfang was very anxious. Why did you get arrested by the Holy Light Judgment? No, I'll talk about it. Teacher, stop. SI stopped him in time. Are you sure you went? Didn't you send the second head? They are just waiting to catch you. Dean Dongfang was very angry. They don't have the ability to arrest me. Unless the head of state really rips his face and does something to me. But if he makes a move, the Lord of the top of the clouds will definitely not sit idly by. Teacher, do you really know the strength of the Vengeance Organization? Sifu looked at him steadfastly. You are indeed very strong as an evolutionary. What if they dispatched spiritual practitioners from the Eternal Continent? Yes, I forgot that there are people from the Eternal Continent. Dean Dongfang was silent for a moment. Then what should we do? Leave it to me. Si raised his head. Teacher Su took the initiative to enter the silent dark room. Someone must be impatient. I will let him show up. Oh, I'm afraid that you will. Dean Dongfang clenched his fists and slammed the table down. What are they going to do? They have lost enough talents over the years. Plane crashes, explosions for no reason, ship sinking, weird suicides. As long as it is a genius, the revenge organization will do everything possible to kill. No matter what they want to do, we have to stop them. Teacher, my senior brother and I have already researched half of the medicines used by the Vengeance Organization that can enhance the blood of evolutionists, and I believe they will be produced soon. Drugs without side effects. Dean Dongfang patted her on the shoulder with a serious expression. No matter what, you come first, you must protect yourself. 5 years ago, the Revenge Organization spent so much money just to kill Si alone. Her importance cannot be overstated. I know. Si blinked. Teacher, please accompany me to the Intercontinental Research Institute tonight. No problem. Dean Dongfang moved his wrist and snorted coldly. I haven't moved for a long time, and my hands are still itchy. On the other side, the Intercontinental Research Institute. Under the order of the Supreme Dean, the entire line of experiments was suspended, and they were subject to interrogation by the Holy Light Tribunal. In the middle of the night, the Intercontinental Research Institute is still brightly lit. In a laboratory building. The cavalry have just left from here. The young assistant breathed a sigh of relief. Sir, there should be nothing wrong now. Yes, we have escaped the investigation, but Su-Ce is doomed this time. The middle-aged man sneered. He also has a problem with his own brain, and he even offered to go to the silent black room, and he didn't even look at the silent black room. Is it somewhere he can go? Almost everyone believed that Dean Su would never come out safe and sound. Of course, it is also possible to be so lucky that Dean Su came out successfully. So he had to put Dean Su to death. Put this document into Su-Ce's computer. The middle-aged man told his assistant. The firewall is closed now, and no one will find out. He has had enough at the Intercontinental Institute. He couldn't be promoted for 10 years, and seeing that he could be transferred soon, Dean Su suddenly took over several experimental projects, which caused him to lose another opportunity. It just so happened that Dean Su was also someone the revenge organization had to get rid of. The middle-aged man took the olive branch thrown by the revenge organization without hesitation. The vengeance organization will give him more rights and reputation, which the Intercontinental Research Institute cannot compare with. What's more, there will be no Intercontinental Research Institute soon. The assistant still hesitated. Su Ce probably has no chance. If we are discovered, then. Don't worry, the middle-aged man didn't care. There are people above us who will cover us, otherwise how do you think we would report Su Ce so smoothly? He glanced at his assistant and warned, you and I are grasshoppers on the same rope now. If you repent, you will be the first to die. Faced with coercion and temptation, the assistant had to follow his orders. After finishing everything, the middle-aged man got up. Okay, we should also. With a bang, the light came on. Si fucking folded his arms and looked at him. You said just now, who can cover you? The last day is too long, and the babies who still have monthly tickets take out their pockets and give Ching Ching a wave. See you tomorrow.